Hello fellow humans, it's Maddie here, and today's video I just wanted to talk through with you my experiences of an Akashic Record Reading. So if you haven't heard about the Akashic Records, a little lowdown here. So basically the Akashic Records are a record of everything that you have ever done, thought or said in this lifetime, past lifetimes and future lifetimes. And there's also an Akashic record for the global collective also. So I guess you have to be a little bit open-minded to kind of even try and conceptualize that in your brain. However, it is something that's out there, and it is something that some people can tap into and access as well. So there are people who do these readings, and I kind of found myself somebody who does them through a friend's friend, and the friend did the reading, and she was my close friend and really recommended this lady. So I was like, okay, I need to do this. My friend did warn me, like, this is gonna change everything. It's gonna flip your life upside down when you do this reading. And I'm like, okay. I think that's a little bit over dramatic, but you know, whatever, let's give it a shot. I can say she was very right. It completely flipped my whole paradigm, changed the way I view myself, changed the way I see other people around me and my purpose here in life. So yeah, it was a really, really interesting journey. So the way it worked is that it was done through Zoom, so kind of like Skype, and it was an hour-and-a-half session. And the lady, Chelsea, who I did it with, basically channeled in the information from my records and just broke it down for me. So it was about my soul's purpose here on Earth, my soul group, where I'm from, which planet I'm from. It was a little bit about my spirit guides and when they came into my life and what they're trying to help me with throughout lifetime, and just general overall guidance of how I can thrive. So yeah, it was a lot of information, which is kind of why I've held off making this video. I wanted to make it a lot sooner. However, I think I really needed this time to just process everything and really try and understand it, because so I did the reading in December, and close people around me were asking me like, how was it, what did you find out? And it's so hard to put everything into words because it's just so much information. So the purpose here of this video today is I'm just gonna explain a little bit about my reading, what happened, how I can relate to it now, and then at the end I've put in some actual clips of my reading. So the reading is an hour and a half, and the lady records it all for you, which is really nice because afterwards you can go back and listen to some of it and see what resonates, see which bits you didn't quite pick up on when you first kind of observed it all. So I've cut down from an hour and a half into 20 minutes for you to listen to at the end if you feel interested. Obviously it's related to me, but the information that I have selected, I feel that other people could also relate to it as well. So I hope you enjoyed that. Yeah, so where do I begin? Well, she started off telling me about my soul group. So if you guys don't know about Starseeds, okay, if you're watching this video, I'm just going to presume you're very open-minded and not going to think I'm a complete freak, or maybe you do, that's okay. So Starseeds are basically beings from other planets in the universe who have come to Earth to try and help raise the consciousness of humanity, because I don't know if you noticed, but a lot of things are falling to shit right now. So these other beings are coming to Earth, and it's their mission here, yeah, just to elevate the rest of humanity, to bring them onto that higher level of vibration. So when we shift into the new paradigm of the 5D reality, we're leaving behind the 3D mentality. I hope that all makes sense to you. So anyway, I am one of those starseeds, and I found out that I come from the planet Sirius. Now, these Syrians were here in the ancient Egyptian times, providing everyone with technology and how to build the pyramids and lots of structure and like agriculture and really just setting everything out for the path of humanity. So I found out about that, which is really, really interesting, and I got pretty deep in that on YouTube. If you can find out which planet you're from, if you are a starseed, and really look into your soul group, it will explain so much about you. And and a few of my friends are also starseeds, and it's really, really powerful coming together and sharing, because we all come here with a slightly different purpose if you're from a different soul group, but coming together and kind of like uniting is just next level. So I can highly suggest you seek out some starseed friends. If you are one, you are not alone. So yeah, that was pretty powerful. I found out about my soul's purpose here, which kind of made me laugh because it's exactly what I'm doing. So she said, with my soul group, I'm here to help humanity to become the best versions of themselves, which is so funny because literally that is just, I feel like that is my life purpose. Like I've said it in some YouTube videos before, like I just love to help to inspire people to reach their full potential and just constantly find ways to improve themselves, and not necessarily in like a physical or materialistic way, but more like of an internal manner. Like how can you learn to accept yourself more, self-love, and face your emotions, whether good or bad. So yeah, my soul purpose is all about bringing that into people's lives, and also with structure. So like providing a way, bringing in lots of different elements, and like into a way that makes sense to everybody. So that really made sense to me and gave me a lot of reassurance that I'm on the right path, I'm doing the right thing. So that was really, really awesome. She spoke a little bit also about which chakras that you're most, so chakras, the 7 energy centers of the body, which ones you're most dominant in this lifetime. So I thought that was really cool, because she said whichever chakra you are most dominant in is what you're most abundant in life in. And my dominant chakra is the heart chakra, which is love and acceptance, love yourself, love others, love the world. So therefore in this lifetime I'm most abundant in love, which is so nice. And I can really see that because I have such amazing friends and a great family, and just a lot of people around me who are very supportive. And even if they don't necessarily know me very well, I just always get, just people who are just supporting what I'm doing, which is really, really nice. And then the other chakra is the most that I'm most dominant in is the intuition, so the third eye chakra. So intuition, inner clarity, being able to see through the bullshit kind of thing, which is kind of like a blessing and a curse. So once I found out this information, because I didn't know it consciously before, it helped me to understand myself a lot better, and kind of allowed me to review situations in life, like, okay, where am I overgiving here? Where am I being too open in love and I'm not getting the same back? And finding out that information also helped me to channel more into my intuition, because I always knew I was very intuitive, but I didn't really take it very seriously. But whereas now, after having this reading, it's kind of dedicated me to more of an intuitive practice, and I'm doing Reiki sessions here, and every time I'm doing a Reiki session, I'm getting so many downloads about this person. And before, I wouldn't really have the courage to question that and see if they're right, but now each time I'm like, okay, have you got so and so in your life? Is this breakup happening? Like, is like random. I usually don't know the people I'm giving Reiki to, and I know all of this information about them. It's really crazy, and it's not at the same time. It's kind of like just natural to be tapping in to the wavelength through the exchange of energy. So yes, what else did this reading bring me? Well, she kind of showed me how I can succeed in what I'm doing in terms of yoga. So I'm a yoga teacher, I do Reiki, I used to do nutrition. I'm not too big on that anymore, because I kind of don't believe in the whole like calorie counting anymore. I'm kind of like, just do what makes you and your body feels good. So anyway, going on a sidetrack here, but yeah, what came across in my reading is that what can help me thrive is to not have such a stable routine and set order. So I teach this time every week, blah blah blah, really mundane. Like, that doesn't work for me, which makes total sense, and I completely agree with that. And she said that to thrive, I need to be teaching at lots of different places, to lots of different people, lots of different groups, which I really started to integrate that after this reading, because I really thought I need a set routine of yoga to be successful. But you know what, that's really not true. And I guess, almost 2 months on since this reading now, like, I've had so many opportunities to teach in all of these different random places, and everything's falling into alignment. And I think if I hadn't have had that insight, would I have then been inclined to seeking outside of the scheduled times? I don't know. So I thought that was really helpful. What else? Oh gosh, that was so much information. Yeah, it just helped me to connect to that part of myself that I wasn't aware of before. So I mentioned like being from Sirius, and I have a lot of ocean dreams, like being underwater with gigantic sea creatures, and I'm never afraid. It just feels very natural. So I went on a bit of a YouTube binge and documentaries all about Syrians, and yeah, there is a group of Syrians which are very aquatic and underwater, and it just confirmed all of these dreams that I've had for so long, because it's made me realize that that is a part of myself, and I love to be by the ocean and the sea and the beach, and both of my childhood houses are by the beach, so that kind of makes sense when I'm from this kind of underwater planet, you know? So yeah, it just helped me to understand different aspects about myself, and yeah, it's just made me realize that I need to value myself and put my own needs before others, because when I'm very heart chakra dominated, I want to help everybody else first. But one thing that stuck out is that if I'm doing something and I'm drained and I'm tired, then it's not in alignment. So whether that's with people or relationships or jobs, like if it's making me exhausted, it's not working for me, and I need to reel back, pause, take a break, and just take my own pace and do what feels right, and then things will start falling into place. So I hope this doesn't sound like random rambling. Maybe that's what it is, I'm not really sure, but there's just so much information, it's hard to kind of break it down into like a linear narrative. So yeah, overall it was incredible. I'm so glad I did it. My kind of intention behind it was that I really wanted to do ayahuasca, and she then explained this because my soul group has a very strong connection with the Incas in Peru, and I kind of thought this would be another route to accessing the same kind of information without having to go through like such extremities of the ayahuasca ceremony, which I still actually want to do, but maybe I'll save that for the future. So yeah, it just brought me a lot of clarity and insight. It did kind of flip up my world for the first 2 weeks. I was really questioning a lot of things, and yeah, it was a little bit of an uncomfortable process, but now, having moved on almost a couple months, it's really shifted everything into a clearer perspective, and yeah, I'm just so grateful that I was able to experience that. So like I said, at the end of the video, I'm going to put in some clips of my reading if you are interested. And yeah, if you want a reading as well, I'll link Chelsea's website below, the lady I did it with. I can highly recommend her. She was so good. She also was able to offer payment plans if you haven't got the money up front, like I didn't at the time. And usually if you're in a business, someone would want you to pay off the full amount before you have the service, but she was like, no, like if you feel called to do this now, just do it now and you can pay slowly later, which I thought was really genuine and really kind and trusting of her. So if she was someone who just wanted to rip me off, like that wouldn't have happened. So yeah, you can take my recommendation from her personally. If you do get a reading, I would love to hear about your experiences and which planet you're from and what your purpose is. Let me know. And yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Hopefully not too out there or too rambly, but I'd love to hear your feedback anyway. So thank you for listening. Have a great day. Namaste.
There's always like this strong desire to become more and to become better. That's a pretty big characteristic of your soul group. So important for you to remember that all growth needs to come from a place of love and a desire to be more you. Okay, so you are perfect in and of yourself, frankly, because you are who you are right now. So you in this moment are the most complete version of yourself. So the fact that that is the case means that in this moment you are as perfect as you're ever going to be. Does it mean that you're not growing? Absolutely not. You are constantly expanding, but you are constantly expanding into a new version of yourself. So it's so important for you to remember that you are not expanding and becoming something else. You are not becoming someone else. You are always you. You will always be you. It's just going to evolve. I always think of it more like you're doing this instead of this.
Okay.
That expansiveness comes from a place of love, a place of acceptance, a place of I am who I am, and I'm only going to become more. Our soul is made up of energy, and that energy spans the spectrum of the chakras. And you have more energy, your soul, so at a fifth dimensional level, has more energy within its creation. If you were a recipe of 7 ingredients, you have more of 1 or 2 ingredients. You work a lot with 4th chakra and with 6th chakra. So you kind of like ride the line between two very different places, the head and the heart. You're more so 4th chakra, which is very important because it's kind of like you use your heart and then you check it with your head, as opposed to you use your head and then check it with your heart. And you want to keep it that way. If you are mostly made up of 4th chakra energy, that is what you are most abundant in. That means that you naturally bring forth more 4th chakra energy into this world. So you want to stick with that. You want to work with that instead of going against that.
Yeah.
So it's really important for you to kind of nurture that within yourself, that sense of love and acceptance. So 4th chakra energy is all about love and acceptance. Now, this is very kind of contradictory to other parts of you, which is all about how are we going to get better? How are we going to improve? Yeah. So it's contradictory, which is good because it's going to bring a nice balance to you. It's saying, yes, we are growing and improving, but we're also very good right now. And that growth is to serve us more as we move forward into the next present moment. That 4th chakra energy means that you make people feel good, right? That really is the best way to explain it. You just help people to feel good. The beautiful thing is we grow so much more when we feel good, not when we hate ourselves. Not when we're nitpicking at ourselves. We feel good. We want to grow that sensation of feeling good. So it's kind of like finding ways to inspire people to feel good. And then when they do feel good, that makes them that much more inspired to want to continue to feel good. 4th chakra energy center, it's very easy. You guys are very relationship oriented. You like your relationships. You like to interact. You like to help people to feel good. It's very, very, very important for you to constantly check back in and make sure that you feel good. It's easy to kind of like lay yourself down and let everyone kind of trample all over you just so that everyone else can feel good. So if you don't feel good, then that is like it's not a negotiable thing. It's not like, oh, it would be so great to feel good. No, like you need to feel good. You need to feel good. You need to feel like you have energy. If you feel depleted, if you feel exhausted, that is a very good sign that you're giving the wrong thing or you're giving too much. Boundaries is a big lesson there. Learning to have good boundaries with people, learning to figure out how to make sure that everyone knows that you love them without overdoing it, really. The downside of that is you can easily go through and do everything for everyone instead of having them do it for themselves. And what happens there is then you're exhausted because you just did everyone else's work. And you're also not teaching, you're not sharing, you're not expressing, you're just kind of taking it all in and doing it all. So it's a good reminder for you to remember to teach people how to fish. Don't fish for them. You catch yourself becoming resentful, when you catch yourself feeling depleted and exhausted, when you catch yourself feeling very heavy and sad, when you catch yourself kind of passive aggressively asking for things that you wish you would get without needing to ask for them, those are all signs that you are not in a good place. Very specific to that fourth chakra energy center, because you guys are loving and giving and caring. And you need to understand that, you know, everyone has their own role and everyone has their own energy center. So knowing who to go to for what things and knowing what you should be giving is a very good, powerful lesson to learn.
Yeah.
So that you are getting everything that you need. And so you love growth. You love to learn more. You love to become more. You love to fix problems. I feel like, you know, you're the kind of person who has the ability to like walk into a room and figure out how it could become better. And that's going to be especially with people, because you do well with relationships, like helping people to become better. You are really good not only at figuring out how people could become better, how things could become better. You have that eye for that, but you also are very good at coming up with a plan for that. So there's a lot of like planning and preparing that goes on in your head, which is, so when all the stars align for you, you know what needs to be better or what needs to be improved. You know how to do it. You have the plans in place, plan A, plan B, plan C. It's easy for you guys to become very successful, which is a beautiful thing. It's just as easy, I feel like, for you guys to become that, like, certain areas of your life are amazing and like really good, really successful, and then certain areas of your life are very stinted and kind of stuck. So it's good for you to bring that sense of love to those areas that are very stuck. And what can sometimes happen to those areas that are very stuck is you just kind of ignore them or pretend like they're not happening. And you realize that there are areas of your life that are very stuck. It's really good for you to sit with them, to examine how you got there, why you got there. You tend to be so forward looking that can be very hard. But it is sometimes necessary, because sometimes if you're just constantly looking ahead, you're not getting the whole picture. Life should flow. If it feels really forced, there's a reason for that. And that reason is letting you know that like something's not working, and you need to kind of pay attention to that. Like, can everyone handle me, so to speak? Like this feeling like people can't necessarily handle you. But the problem with that is, as long as you have that attitude, you're going to be attracting all the wrong people. And you can't bullshit yourself. Like, you know, if you have the wrong people in your life, you have a low degree of tolerance for bullshit, which is not a bad thing at all. So the problem with that is you'll pretend like someone is awesome, and you'll try really hard to see them for their good self. That's your fourth energy center coming out. But you know, and you really want the best intentions, but you just know, and you can't really cover that up for too long. So it's so important for you to shine and be and express yourself in as authentic of a way as possible, because that's also going to create really natural boundaries. You are going to attract exactly what you need to be getting. And you do need to be getting like a higher quality than a lot of other people. you do have high expectations. You are all about growth, and you kind of expect that in those around you. You know when you're not doing as good of a job as you should be, which it can easily like drive you nuts, because you can't hide from yourself. I feel like in some ways you can easily be your own worst enemy, because you can easily be your own greatest critic, which is never a good thing. But again, if you're able to bring that criticism with a deep sense of self-love, then you find that perfect balance of knowing what you need to do and knowing how to do it, but also being okay with being where you are right now. Being okay with having a bad week, and just being okay with, I'm staying in my pajamas this week. So, so you have the ability to bring both of those things out. It's important for you to not compartmentalize them. So the awesome areas just get awesome, more and more awesome, and the stuck areas just get more and more stuck. But finding a way to bring love to that desire to grow, and that desire to grow to that space that is a little bit more slow. The fact that you work with your sixth chakra, on top of like all those pieces that are, talking about how you are driven to become more, driven to become better, you also have a very deep sense of clarity. So sixth chakra is all about clarity and intuition. Intuition is what happens when you are clear. It's as simple as that. Intuition is what happens when you are clear and you are present, which means that you're not cluttered, which means that you're not thinking about all the things that you should and could be doing. It like cuts through the bullshit and cuts through the judgment and cuts through all of the attachments to how we think things should be, and it gets to what is it. You see things for what they are. You see people for who they are, especially. It's important. You don't necessarily have to be like deeply vocal about that, but you do need to live your life by that.
Yeah.
So finding a way to share with others in a way that they can hear, because a frequent problem is that you can like get kind of on a high horse and say, you should be doing this and you should be doing that and you should be doing that. And if it comes from that sixth chakra side, it can come off as very judgy. Whereas it comes from this side, it's going to be very authentic and like, I want to help you. One's much more able to kind of be taken in than the other. So it's really about getting the two to work well together, seeing things clearly, connecting with people, and then helping them to grow from that space of self-love, seeing how they have these tools that they could use to help them get to that better place. Sixth chakra does a good job of like holding its ground. It's kind of like the spiritual warrior, which is a beautiful thing. So that also balances out that fourth chakra, who worries so much about making everyone feel good that they forget to feel good themselves. So having both pieces there, again, is just a very kind of good, natural balance for itself. Literally, you help people to learn their lessons and their things, not by doing anything other than holding space for them. And they're able to do it themselves. And as much as there's this part of you that's like, but I want to do it. I want to do so much more. I want to figure it out for them. Don't. Because you'll also be draining your own energy. Because you can't, like, regardless of what you wish, you can't make people better.
Yeah.
You can only inspire them. You can only, more importantly for you, I think, teach them, show them, give them something that can help them to do it on their own. You are able to bring organization and structure and a plan and kind of like visualize things very well, you're able to bring that to other people, which can be very helpful, especially when it comes to self-help and things like that. People, especially in this day and age, so this fits very well into this day and age, because this day and age, everything is structured and planned and prepared and whatever else. But you have the plan and the preparation, which when you bring that to a more holistic environment can be very beneficial. It's kind of like taking all the ingredients, you're able to put it into a pill to give to someone.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like what I could see you doing. And what you do is like taking different pieces, packaging it up and handing it over to someone. Like that's a skill that you guys tend to do. It just comes naturally to you. So again, if it comes naturally to you, keep doing it.
Yeah.
Kind of a natural peacekeeper. You're not aggressively emotional, which is good, and probably comes from that big balance between your head and your heart. But you tend to have a more neutral, middle of the road, not perspective, but emotional state. And when we can continue to foster that deep sense of neutrality, when you can continue to foster that deep sense of neutrality, one, it will help you to not get quite so caught up in the emotions of being a fourth energy center person. And it can also make you more non-judgmental in the head piece too. So that sense of neutrality is really good. That sense of neutrality makes you what I always call the oh shit person. Like people call you when they're in a oh shit sort of situation, because they know that you're going to be much less judgmental about it.
Yeah.
So it's good for you to, again, just kind of remember that like calm, cool, collected mentality works very well for you. And to keep fostering that, like the drama and like the intensity doesn't work nearly as well for you as it might for other people. It's easy for you to cover up doing what you need to do with the need to take care of other people.
Yeah.
Which will then bring in lots of fogginess, because you're worrying more about what is good for other people than you are worrying for yourself. And I can also see, so this brings me to another point, which is it's important for you to get feedback based on how you feel. It is very tempting for you to look around and see how whatever it is that you're doing is working for other people. It is really important for you. Actually, some people do well with that, where they like create something, put it out there, they see how people are responding, and that's their feedback. For you, on the other hand, the feedback is how do you feel in offering what it is that you are offering. Yeah. You're a more internal person. As much as you love to interact with people, what matters is the intrinsic joy that you get from those interactions and from those offerings. So if you do not feel good about what it is that you are doing, then that is letting you know that something isn't right. And then from there, you can start to tap into your sixth chakra and kind of tap into that sense of knowing. And if there isn't clarity coming through, it's because there's too much judgment and assumption and kind of holding on to how you want things to be. It is important for you to feel similar to those around you. It is important to be around people who are somewhat similar to you. So being in an environment where people are nothing like you would be very hard for you. Not necessarily the best place where you're going to thrive. Similarly, you will likely, when you are around a group of people, find the similarities between yourself and them, and that will help you to feel more connected to them. But at the same time with that, like, if there are 3 things that you connect on and like 30 things that you don't connect on, like I think it's important for you to kind of pay attention to that. Not like just find that silver lining and only when you want to grow, it's good for you to find mentors and find people who you look up to and want to be like, and kind of surround yourself with them, whether it's like physically in person or just energetically, like reading their books or watching their videos or whatever else. That similarity piece is very helpful to you. And I also like that because I think that it helps you to stay aligned in a positive way instead of looking at all the contrasts and looking at all the differences and looking at it in what can turn into a more negative way. Yes, so your soul group is Sirius. So Syrians are who I see tend to being drawn to Peru. Syrians they're all about growth. They're all about coming up with the technologies and the tools to make things better. For you and your soul group especially, it's helping people to figure out how to get to where they need to go next. So I feel like I could see a lot more Syrians, like where I personally believe that a lot of souls are kind of making an exodus from this planet. I could see a lot of Syrians sticking around to kind of do what they can. Because again, you guys are all about making things better and fixing. So I think that there's that like curious desire in you to come through and hang out to the very end and like do what you can to get rid of the bad stuff that you see. We present with these themes, and these themes are basically things that your soul is exploring through your human self. These themes, you're not here to learn anything. I think it's really important for you because as a Syrian, you know, you guys are so ambitious, and it can be easy for you to forget that you're not actually here to learn anything or to do anything. You're actually just here to be and to express yourself. And it's through that expression that things change and you move and shake. It's just switching the way you look at things. Instead of looking at things as, I need to complete this, and if I complete this, I will grow. It's really the other way, which is I am expressing myself, and the more I express myself, the more I grow. And in doing so, things will be completed and changed. Again, and that's also a very loving perspective to come at things from. It takes away a lot of the stress. It's a lot less about doing, which we can easily get into this habit of doing. And it puts you more in the state of being. And when you are being, you are much more authentic. You have much more energy to give. Spirit guides are souls of a higher level of evolution than you are, higher level of consciousness than you are. We have lots of spirit guides, but we have a very exclusive group of inner spirit guides. So our inner circle spirit guides, they're kind of like a couple degrees ahead of us. They know a little bit more than we do. We are born with one, and we slowly bring in more based on what life situations we experience. Help us navigate those life situations. So they end up becoming very helpful to show us like what kind of support we're looking for. You know, we have both good and bad within us, but we are technically perfect. Therefore, there is something perfect about those shadow sides too. So figuring out how to love both and love both into a way that kind of works better with each other. Build a strong relationship with yourself. Be confident in who you are and the fact that this is constantly changing. Take yourself out on regular dates to get to know who you are and know how you change and grow. The more you can relate to yourself, the more you will be able to relate to the world around you. We get so stuck when we become very external focused. How do I need to serve? What do I need to do to get better? What do I want to get better? That's all very out here. You need to, especially because you're a more internal person, you need to take regular time to sit with yourself and say, what am I feeling? What am I feeling in response to what is going on around me? Again, like sitting, taking it all in, being aware of what's happening, and then sitting with it and saying, how am I feeling about this? Is this working? Is this not working? Why? What's going on? And if you don't have an answer yet, that's okay. Be okay with that. You like to have answers. Syrians like to know. And if they don't know, then they want to find the answer now, which doesn't always relate well to very slow meditative practices. But slow meditative practices can be really good for you. They can kind of balance you out a little bit. Not always, that you do tend to thrive in more of a, I'm going to learn this and then I'm going to apply it. And like, it's kind of a fast thing. And you guys do tend to grow very fast, which is great. But I think the reminder is, if things aren't working, or if you're feeling resistance, then that's when you say, okay, like something's not working. So maybe I need to sit with this a little bit, and maybe a little